This video is sponsored by SquareSpace, the all-in-one platform that helps you build websites, online stores, and more. Good morning, fellow people who also don't have tickets to go see Spider-Man tonight. Or maybe you do and you're just watching this outside the theater. Good on you if that's the case. It's still Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl season though, so we're not completely done talking about Pokemon remakes, although we do need to wrap it up and move on to Legends Arceus in only a month, as crazy as that sounds. So generally, Pokemon remakes refine what was already there and occasionally add upon it, but there are some cases of some elements from the original games just inconspicuously disappearing. Some of these elements are simply outdated features that needed to be overhauled, but others are much grander. So today we're honoring the content lost to the flow of time. But hey, if you don't want these videos getting lost in the deep vacuum of space known as the YouTube homepage, then make sure you're subscribed. You know, if you've been watching these videos and you're not subscribed, YouTube's just gonna keep recommending them until you do. Take it from me, I watched like one video of a windmill destroying itself and now my homepage is filled with all kinds of weird disaster videos. It's kinda cool. But with that being said, let's get into it. Firered and Leafgreen were mostly faithful remakes that didn't change up a whole lot, but they did need to smooth over the general gaming experience by removing as many of the iconic Gen 1 bugs as possible. Don't worry, not that iconic Gen 1 bug, he's safe. I mean the infamous glitches, even the entirely intentional Mew glitch, leaving the player without any way of catching Mew through somewhat normal gameplay. Now, you could still obtain Mew through distribution events because, ironically enough, it's actually one of the most commonly given away Pokemon, but strangely, the Mew event that takes place on Faraway Island from Emerald is absent in these games. Now, I know Emerald did come out a teensy bit later than Firered and Leafgreen, but that didn't stop them from at least including the Emerald Deoxys event in these games, as well as the Naval Rock event featuring both Ho-Oh and Lugia. Other than that, did Firered and Leafgreen remove anything significant that was in Red and Green? Well, not really. It's not like there was a ton they could remove, to be fair. Now yes, these games are missing some Yellow content, but seeing as how Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee is meant to be closer to Yellow, we'll be coming back to touch on that later. Heartgold and Soulsilver for the most part were purely expansive remakes, adding new content on both sides of Mount Silver, but there is one thing that they were unfortunately forced to leave out. Or at least half leave out? That, of course, is the Game Corner. Now, I say half leave out because the Game Corner in its original glorious slot machine state is actually in these games, in Japan only. But due to a very sudden change in European legislation that resulted in games featuring gambling need to be rated for kids 12 and up, the slot machines were very hastily replaced with Satan's favorite minigame, Voltorb Flip. The Game Corner actually began to be phased out as early as Pokemon Platinum in 2009. Although it was still in that game, the slot machines weren't functional in the Korean and European versions. Instead, you could just obtain a random amount of coins from the slots every day by clicking on one of the machines. Honestly, I did not care to see the Game Corner go, since even when I was a kid playing those slots I realized, wait a minute, this is a scam. I'm losing coins just by playing the game. It's more effective to just buy all the coins and cash them in for the Porygon. Pokemon Casinos taught me more about the dangers of real-life gambling than any kid's TV program could. Now hold that thought while I open some more packs of Pokemon cards. I got a really good feeling this time. Despite it being riddled with pain and anxiety, I actually quite like Voltorb Flip as you can actually earn coins off of it, and it's generally just a fun game of risk and reward. Other than that though, it's hard to say that Heartgold and Soulsilver removed anything worthwhile other than very small snippets of the Crystal plot, like where you fight the wise trio of monks, but even very minor stuff from Crystal like the Clear Bell item, the legendary beast battle theme, and even this one random house and ledge added to Cianwood City were all kept in Heartgold and Soulsilver. Not to mention that things like the Goldenrod Trade Center and the Battle Tower were upgraded into the Global Terminal and Battle Frontier as well. There is one important bit of Crystal content missing though, and that's the adjustments made to the wild encounters that made some Gen 2 Pokemon easier to find. Snubbull could appear on several routes in Crystal, but in the remakes it gets moved back to Route 38 with only a 1% chance of appearing, making it one of the most unnecessarily rare Pokemon, maybe ever. Sneasel was in the Ice Path in Pokemon Crystal, but gets moved back to the post-game in the remakes. In Crystal, this small patch of grass was added to the east of the Sudowoodo roadblock on Route 36, allowing you to get Growlithe before even fighting the first gym. Something that I need really, really badly. Really badly. Now, the only reason I don't complain more about this is that the Safari Zone actually drastically helped with finding certain Pokemon in the remakes that normally couldn't be found anywhere in Johto. It is a bit of a shame to have to wait so long to unlock it, though. But before we kick off with the second half, let's hear from the sponsor of today's video, SquareSpace. SquareSpace is the absolute easiest way to go about making a new website and expanding your online presence with dozens of free templates to choose from. Here I'm starting off with the entertainment category because, well, that's what I do. SquareSpace makes building a community incredibly easy as well, with member-only content that gives you in-depth analytics to track your top pages and products, and allows you to easily connect to your social media accounts as well. As a YouTuber who dabbles on platforms like Twitter and Discord, this part is especially useful for tying all of my content together. It's also remarkably easy to feature videos from third-party hosts on your website. I could slap all of my reviews and other content up here without breaking a sweat. Take it from me, don't wait to start building an online presence, the earlier the better. Which is why Squarespace is offering a free trial to get started, and when you're ready to go, you can head over to my URL, squarespace.com/JPR, to save 10% on your first purchase of a website or domain. Thank you to Squarespace for sponsoring, back to the video. Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire are the first games where we see a lot of content left on the cutting room floor, but in its defense, these games also added the most content of any Pokemon remake. It honestly feels more like a brand new game than a remake at times. Of course, most of this cut content originated from Emerald though, so we shouldn't even have to talk about pain and despair. But there is still some weird stuff from the original Ruby and Sapphire that got cut, like the last two puzzles of the Trick House. Although the only prizes you lose out on from this cut are a timer ball and a PP Max, so can I really be mad about this? No, but somebody will be. Many locations were also considerably stripped down in these games, like New Mauville, which was moved to the post-game and only consists of one small room as opposed to the giant labyrinth layout it had in Gen 3. Granite Cave is now just a straight line back to Steven's room, with the rest of the cave gated off until you've obtained the Mach Bike. Mount Chimney, geographically speaking, is the same, but lacks the trainers that show up after Team Magma and Team Aqua's defeat. But an even bigger tragedy awaits at the bottom of the mountain, where the grandmas in the Lava Ridge Hot Spring are nowhere to be found, leaving me alone to drown my sorrows in the steaming water while I contemplate if these games are really worth the $35 I paid. Of course, areas exclusive to Emerald like the Desert Tower, Desert Underpass, Trainer Hill, and Altering Cave are removed in their entirety. The Legend Sandwood City would never stand for this. The Game Corner also gets a far harsher treatment than it did in the Johto remakes. This time, it's just 6 feet under the ground, both inside and outside Japan. Doesn't bother me too much though, since the Hoenn Game Corner wasn't run by a corrupt organization that gave away exceedingly rare Pokemon in exchange for money anyway. They just took all the fun out of it. Speaking of taking fun out of the game, the Pokeblock minigame is gone. How am I supposed to flex on these old geezers at the contest hall if my Pokeblock just makes itself? These are also the first remakes to feature shiny locked Pokemon, so unlike in the originals, there is no way to obtain a shiny Groudon, Kyogre, or Rayquaza. However, I'd say that they more than make up for this by allowing any of the post-game legendaries found through the rings to be shiny, even ones like Zekrom and Reshiram who couldn't be shiny in past games. And last, but certainly, well, most disappointing, is the complete removal of Gym Leader rematches, which were also present in Emerald. But don't worry guys, you can still call up Youngster Joey for a match anytime. Now, there are changed elements as well, such as Abandoned Ship being remodeled into Sea Mauville and Sky Pillar being completely redesigned, but I wouldn't necessarily call that cut content, just altered content. So here we are again in the good old Kanto region, just like Game Freak wants us to be. Now, Let's Go clearly leaves out some of the stuff Firered and Leafgreen brought to the table, like the Sevi Islands, but was intentionally more of a yellow remake than anything else, to the point where they even dropped held items and abilities. I guess to make it more like Gen 1, but realistically probably to make the battle system as simple as possible to newcomers. This is Pokemon, we can't let newbies know that they have to use their brain. Now, duh, the obvious big removal is the ability to battle wild Pokemon, but that's a pretty clearly intentional design choice, so I'll just skim past that one. But here's a pretty big one. These are the first games to lack backwards compatibility with any title before them since Ruby and Sapphire, since it was also the first time the Game Freak opted to jump consoles mid-generation. I was also going to talk about how oddly the day and night cycle isn't here either, but that just means that no Kanto games have a day or night cycle since it wasn't in Firered and Leafgreen. I guess Kanto is just in a state of perpetual daylight, like Alaska in the summertime. That, or Ash Ketchum is truly frozen in time like many believe. The bicycle is also removed because who needs to exercise when you can just ride on your pets? There also isn't a PC, which I honestly never noticed, and surprisingly, no minigame to play with your starter Pokemon. The Surfing Pikachu game doesn't come back and there's no replacement, which to me just seems really odd. They may as well have called it Let's Go Pikachu within prescribed limits. Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl are a lot like Firered and Leafgreen. They pretty much recreate almost everything correctly. The only glaring omission to me is the lack of furniture and other appliances to decorate your secret base with. Sure, you can get statues of Pokemon that fill their own roles with the newly introduced hideaways, but I don't get it. Why can't I just deck out my pad? I want to invite the boys over, distract them with my excellent decor, and then sneak out and steal their base's flag. Except, oh wait, that's not here either. Wow, they really took one of the most fun multiplayer activities and completely gutted it. But at least the rest of the underground is good. While some unusable moves from Sword and Shield like Hidden Power, Rock Climb, and Dark Void return in these games, there are still a number of moves missing, including ones that were present in the original Diamond and Pearl, such as everyone's favorite Nuzlocke ender, Pursuit. The only other major thing that isn't in this game that isn't also from Platinum is the GTS, which is replaced with the GWS, although that isn't actually in the game yet. So we'll just have to wait and see what all that includes. Pretty much everything else, like POW Park being replaced with Romanus Park and Game Corner being replaced with an apparel shop, is just consequences of changing times and changing features since Gen 4. While it may be disappointing to know that we can't have everything, you gotta take the bad with the good sometimes. So with that in mind, which remake is your favorite? And while you ponder that question, don't forget to subscribe and leave a like on this video if you enjoyed. Thanks for watching, I'll see you guys next time.